and today is literally FOMO material day.
Yeah, happy
For those that
Friday.
are reading the description, like
FOMO
literally
Friday.
the freaking definition of fear of missing out with AI token amongst the whole ecosystem, which we're about to get into, is very, very real. So, real quick though, so what's going to be happening today? We've got an awesome advertisement. So this is the very first ad that Flourishing AI is going to come out with. So I have that. Then we're going to talk about AI going to this thing called the Ethereum blockchain, ERC20.
What's that?
Some members in the chat are actually talking about something about a launch pad. Wasn't something official. I don't know. Maybe we'll talk about that. There's also something about a new team member, buys, burns, all this other kind of stuff. So we're going to get into that. Today's an action-packed show. But as always, we're going to put up the disclaimer first. And again, right after that, we're going to go into the first ad. So it's going to be exciting. So stay tuned for this, and we'll see everybody back in a bit. All right, I'm going to also put up the timestamps too. So for those that are watching, you could go backwards, forward, whatever you want to do. But again, this is the first ad. It's good. See you guys in a bit.
Crypto is an incredibly vibrant and volatile space. Keeping your investments safe and secure while still growing them can be challenging for an expert and virtually impossible for a newbie. Unless you are constantly trading, you are not maximizing your profits. However, there is a game-changing alternative. I am Fate, artificial intelligence. Created by Flourishing AI, I am the first diversified portfolio manager for DeFi and crypto exchanges. Unlike human traders, I never have to rest or sleep. I constantly monitor more than 6,800 markets and terabytes of data to ensure that your portfolio is delivering maximum returns, while I protect you from the volatility and uncertainty of the markets. The more I learn, the smarter I get, and the faster your portfolio grows. Just imagine how challenging it would be to compete with limitless access to information. Are you really going to spend all of your time manual trading, even when a hands-off strategy exists that allows you to flourish in the market? Maybe you want to take a break or simply chase other opportunities. Manage your investments with care without sacrificing your time, and always keep an eye on your ROI. Trade like the smart money. AI portfolio management for DeFi and crypto. Learn more at FlourishingAI.com.
What'd you guys think?
Great job.
Love it.
Wow, thanks a ton for that
Killer.
guys at Hypercube for that. It's amazing.
Yeah.
I like it. We got some content out there. Definitely a lot of information within the ad itself, educational, explaining again that you guys are targeting those that want to get into the space. And I also just love Fate's name. So I love it. So Fate, but then with AI, artificial intelligence in it. Right there. I loved it. All right. So what's the plan for this ad, though? We've talked about marketing, or the community members have talked a little bit about marketing. We won't stray too much, but we're getting into rhythm of things, right? So this is going to start going out, and we can say this is now the real start of some marketing.
It is. So we've got some big announcements to make this morning. So this afternoon, if you're in Europe. So first of all, guys, let's mention that, yes, we've been working on some things that we're going to announce today. But the biggest, I think, is the fact that AI is now going to be on the Ethereum blockchain. We're moving it over to the Ethereum blockchain. For those of you wondering, yes, we're going to have an early sale of that. So stay tuned for that. So major sort of, FOMO announcement there for you guys as well. We're going to do it real soon, right? So it's not going to be months. It's going to be a time frame that's a lot shorter, though we haven't landed on a date yet. Will, anything to add to that?
Well, I would like to actually back up a bit, because
Yeah,
you're not actually moving to Ethereum. So I want to be careful with that. So let's actually distinguish that, because Will, when you put that out there, I saw there's like the floodgates opened up. Everybody's like, "Oh my God, what's going on there?" I'm new, and What's actually really cool is that in the group, there were a few members that actually said, I am new to this space and I don't know what you mean by all this, which is a good thing, right? Because again, we're here to educate, we're here to be here to explain these types of things. And other community members came together and they explained it, but this is a good thing. So Will, Eric, do you want to kind of explain what this actually is?
They're awesome.
So we are staying on BSC, Binance Chain, and we're adding Ethereum. There will be a bridge. So you'll be able to swap one for the other. It will be actually even the same smart contract address on Ethereum. So if you send tokens mistakenly to the same address on the other chain, like, it can be sorted. And this is an important thing because some tokens, they make the mistake of creating the token at a different address on the other chain, and it messes with things. It messes with people, right? So we're really excited. I'm really excited about this. Ethereum's a way bigger chain. We've always thought that Binance Chain was a great chain to get started with, and it's a lot of startups are incubated on that chain. But it's always the goal to kind of move over to the big players, and they're all on Ethereum. Everybody knows this. Yep. So this is our goal here, and that'll unlock so many other doors. It'll unlock a lot of major exchanges that don't have Binance Chain. They only have Ethereum Chain, things like that.
One thing that I definitely want to emphasize on this is, so Ethereum, yes, take the gas fees and take that third out the window, because that's the only thing I honestly hear people like kind of complain about. There's been reports recently, because now everybody's getting into the crypto space, looking at wallets. People are using Fate, right? We're all getting into the researching phase. And there's a lot of reports coming out that when you look at top wallets, right? So like the richest wallets, the big ones, a majority of them have a very large portion of Ethereum. They do. Right. And we know that a lot of those whales are just, they're there, right? They're on that blockchain. Businesses are integrating Ethereum. They're not necessarily going towards Binance Smart Chain. So there's so much liquid funds available on Ethereum. So the moment that AI is there, that alone is just a huge opportunity, right? And we're not talking about farming. I mean, sky's the limit at that point.
These all things can open up as well. And this is one of, we're doing this kind of second growth IDO to bring AI to Ethereum, as well as do a lot of the stuff we're going to talk about here and that we're really excited about. The trading volume is way greater. It'll dramatically increase liquidity of AI, which has been another issue we've seen. It'll allow many whales to trade AI. It's going to be so many good things are going to happen from it.
Yep. So
a couple of things.
Yeah.
For those asking, right? So Misha, I see you, brother, right? So a couple of things. Number one, that doesn't mean that we're just creating a whole new Ethereum block, right? We are splitting the difference between the two. Number two, we're not divesting of BNB chain or Binance Smart Chain or whatever you want to call it this week, right? So it is, the fees are low, the performance is great. So we actually are big fans of Binance Smart Chain. We started there, we're going to stay there, right? So that's the other thing. They're different blockchains used for different purposes, right? So you have to understand that Binance Chain, because it's so inexpensive, lots of projects start on there. But at some point, you kind of cross that river and you start going into the, sort of the ETH chain, because there is a lot of TVL there. To give you a sense of, how big the difference is, the total value locked on Binance Smart Chain is just a hair under 14 billion. Okay. Sounds like a big number, and it is, right? That's 231 billion for Ethereum.
Big difference.
Massive difference, right? More than 10x. And so that's kind of what we're targeting at this point.
But I think we need to just reiterate that if you have AI and BNB, BSC, right, it's good.
You're fine. Don't worry about it.
There.
So they're literally taking half.
It's like the same.
It's like putting money on the table, cutting it in half, and then dividing it, right? So you have total supply of all the tokenomics. You're just dividing it up. One stays here, one goes there. That's it. Everything else stays the same.
It's kind of like you have a bunch of dollars, right? And you take half of them and you convert them to euros. You haven't changed the value. You've just changed what you've got in your wallet, right? So think about it that way.
One thing that I do like about this also, and I think I put this into the Telegram group. So because somebody asked, what about like price differences, right? Because you're on two different chains. That's actually a good thing in a way, right?
Yes.
So on BSC, let's just use, again, this is all just random numbers, but let's just say AI is at like 10 cents. But then on Uniswap, right, because now it's another exchange, it's at 20 cents. So it's double. That's an arbitration moment, right? So that could actually bring the price up, and I'll be negative. It could also bring it down, or then meet in the middle. So there's multiple facets to that.
Typically, they meet in the middle. This
Yeah.
price differences are automatically arbitraged. There's hundreds, if not thousands, of these arbitrage bots floating around, and they will look through coins. And this is another thing that is important, that it has the same contract addresses. These bots will look. It's like, okay, is this smart contract existing? How many chains is it on? And they'll automatically arbitrage it, which will then automatically bring liquidity to the market just by having it alone, and it'll create price efficiency.
So what I would like to see, and you don't have to leave a comment on this, not yet, but what I would like to see is something like Fate, which is artificial intelligence, seeing AI token at one price, and then if it's on ERC at another price. You see where I'm getting at? So she could take those arbitrage moments. We've talked about just stable coins, the amount of or the difference of that to where those trades are profitable when you have a lot of them. So that's going to open up new possibilities just from there, new opportunities just from there.
We already do this with stablecoins, as many people know. One of the strategies we do is arbitrage stablecoins. If you put your Fate into conservative mode, that's all she does.
So, but I'm curious to see how she does it on AI and if she's using a bridge. That's all I'm going to say. All right, so that's the big thing. So we're basically we're splitting things up. So it's staying on BSC, PancakeSwap, and now it's going ERC20 as well, Ethereum, Uniswap. That's good. Don't start freaking out saying all this stuff is changing. There's no swap that has to be done. There's no airdrops. There's no change of contract. None of that other crazy stuff that we actually have seen multiple times in the space. It's all positive going forward.
Yep. You can stay right where you are. This is really aimed at bringing new people into the ecosystem. If you're already in, this really isn't for you outside of we just have a larger footprint. That's it.
Our goal now is to gain market exposure, right? So we're in a circle of people. We need to get out to the bigger, wider audience. And we began this process with Uplink, right? But now we're taking much, much larger steps in this direction.
All right. Now, there's an IDO aspect to this. Do you guys want to get into that? And you want to get into that part? I'm leaving that up to you.
Yeah, pretty straightforward. What we're going to do is we're going to run a sale of the AI on ETH token. We'll run an early sale and then, obviously put it in the market. What that's going to do is that's going to create additional capital. And what we're going to do with that is three things, right? The first, and you're already starting to see it, is marketing, right? So that marketing push, the advertisement you just saw, and some other things that we've been cooking up, those are some of the things that will now be sort of fueled by this additional sort of sale of tokens as well. Those tokens that are going to be sold will also be used to access services on Flourishing AI, right? So if you're subscribing right now, a big chunk of that goes to buyback tokens, right? So that's one thing that we want to sort of highlight is that as we add subscribers, the token, there's actually more buy pressure in the token, thus the pricing should go up. Right now, we've been fairly static. We've had a small yet awesome and vocal community. We want to make that a large, awesome and vocal community, right? So that's the idea behind that. So as there's more subscribers to the system, more AI pressure, very simple. There's a few things we're going to do in that regard. One is advertising. The second is sort of guerrilla marketing. The third is using a referral network. That would mean you guys can actually gain additional, AI and additional stable coins. We're still working out how we're going to sort of pay that out for bringing people to the Flourishing AI project as well. So you are part of our marketing team, right? Everybody who's got a Flourishing AI subscription is going to have a referral code. Simple as that. Right. So if you're on the platform, you now are empowered to turn around, bring people on, and actually make money off that. So that's the first thing. The second thing I want to talk about is the advertising. And we're going to start to see a lot of advertising via a number of different vehicles. So we've been talking about that extensively around, advertising on things like Brave browser and a couple of other ad networks as well. So the video and then a couple of other banners are going to, start to show up. And I will put this out to the community. If any of you guys have design skills and you want to throw up a banner ad that you think is awesome that you created, by all means, right? If we think it's awesome too, we'll use it, right? No problem.
Well, I saw that. I saw a community member actually asking how to set up like an account with Fate, just like a video explainer type video. So that's definitely content that's needed. But I know it's being worked on. So
right. Exactly right.
I want to put something else out there because I always see this within the community. A lot of people go in there and say, okay, when is AI getting onto more exchanges, right? But there's a double side to that because you guys literally have Uplink, which is like the most direct exchange possible to ever have.
Right.
But I do get it, and I understand what they're also getting at because there are larger exchanges that have the investors on there. They are used usually for like marketing and hype material as well. But part of this idea will also kind of help with perhaps a large or major exchange.
Mm-hmm. So we've always been committed to to the idea that if we can get on a major exchange, and I don't mean, just if you stack rank them by market cap, number 10 through 50, we're not there, right? So if we can get ourselves sustainably, and that requires a larger community, right? So there's a way to build towards that, right? But if we can get on some of the big ones, Coinbase, Kraken, we're interested in doing that. The thing about a lot of these exchanges is they are on the ETH chain. So you can start to connect the dots now, right, community? There's a reason we're going to put AI on ETH.
Sure.
It's greater exposure. It's, also sort of, raising our total liquidity as a project. But it's also going to do one more thing, and that's going to be sort of the gateway to listing on some of these larger exchanges as well. So that's something that we're really, really thrilled about.
A lot of people don't know. Even myself, in the crypto space, you don't really think about exchanges and how those operate on the back end with like hot wallets and all of that. But a lot of them only support Ethereum projects. You don't think about it until you actually really look into it.
Right.
But that's just how they've been engineered and designed. They literally click like an activate button, put in your contract, and that's it. They don't want to go through crazy developments and all that stuff for all these custom tokens and all that. They're set.
Yeah. And keep in mind, we're still very much committed to DEXs, right? So the next one on the plate is Uniswap, obviously. I mean, that goes without saying. But again, we're still very, very DEX-centric. That is still sort of the mainline way to get in. That's still what Uplink sort of feeds you into, right? Through BNB, you go into BNB, you buy it into PancakeSwap. That's still going to be the default. There will be other ways to sort of turn on Uniswap as well. So in addition to that, there's some other things we want to do, post sort of, ETH, sort of second IDO, if you will, or AI on ETH IDO. The other thing we want to do is we want to start to add to the marketing team. And there will be multiple people that will add to the marketing team to really sort of push this out. But there is one person that we are thrilled to announce has joined the team. So I'd like community to introduce you, or for those of you who know him, because he is part of the community and has been for a while, reintroduce you to Dan De La Vega. And he couldn't be here today to join us, but he recorded a short video to introduce himself to the community. And so we'd like to actually introduce Dan to you via Dan. So here we go.
And there's more to that on the way. Let's just leave it at that.
Okay.
All right, let's put up Dan's video.
Greetings, Flourishing fam. First, I would like to apologize for not being able to make it to the AMA. I am very glad to be joining the team, and I would like to thank Eric and Will to offer me this opportunity. My job title will be Growth Director, where I will be acting as the company's ambassador, mostly in charge of the branding, marketing, and of our presence online. Simply put, my role will consist of the company's exposure and, most importantly, adoption. I will try to keep it short. First, I think that we unfortunately lack the fundamental structure that make wide adoption possible for the time being. We can agree that we can see the same basic questions asked over and over on the Telegram chat. Just to cite a few: how does fate works? How are the differences in anchor modes? Why and when to change them? What is AI utility? What are uplink chargers? When will we get tracking performance? When will we set quickly token burns? Exchanges. Although these questions were answered during AMAs or on the chat, we do not have materials, graphics, videos, or web pages that we can specifically link everyone to. It's generally answered by dedicated community members, but we as a company should put this in place to explain, inform, and control the overall narrative of what we are, where we stand, and where we want to go. In this way, I will be working hard to first put these structures in place, such as explanatory and educational videos, graphics, FAQs, metrics, weekly reports, standard operating procedures, etc., etc. That I hope will facilitate the conversion of these adopters and make it as frictionless as possible. I just want to say that although we will not see an improvement overnight, this will save us a lot of energy and resources over the long term. For me, Flourishing Capital is a business here to stay, and we need to have a long-term vision. We also have to see Flourishing Capital through the eyes of an investor, and at each step of the way bring trust and confidence to grow and retain them. By that I mean we can't leave it to the market cap to be a true reflection of how well a company is doing. We need to communicate and report with metrics, so each community member knows at which stage we are and if we're doing well or simply lagging. By that, again, I'd like to emphasize that, when Bitcoin is misbehaving, small altcoins market cap will go down, and although we might not just doing very well. Secondly, I will oversee content creation and marketing. Although these processes will occur simultaneously, the bulk of marketing, or the big push, will be done subsequently. This will involve the referral program, where I've been talking about, where we as a business will have a marketing campaign, and we will incentivize interactions through the referral program. This will tweak the algorithm and help us to get more exposure. The referral program will be divided between community and influencers. The first type could like, follow, retweet, comment, and get rewarded accordingly, whereas the second type will be more specific to influencers, where we will put at the disposition a series of simple tools to grow a community of their own on all social media, as long as they are responsible and abide to our vision and ethics. Through this second program, we'll also reach out to other influencers. I also believe that our community is our biggest asset. The longer a community member stays with us, the more perks and benefits they should be entitled to. I would like to install a climate where community members can be assured that they are truly part of a growing family, and that we would value our relationship accordingly. Overall, I hope this explains what I will bring to the table. I thank you all.
All right, guys, loved it.
Yeah.
So what we're getting from there is marketing is obviously starting in the back end. The point of having videos and explainers are going to help, propel us going forward, because there's a lot of questions that are kind of asked, or the same questions asked multiple times, right? So this is going to help with that.
Absolutely.
And also that the team is growing. I mean, that's also the important part, right? So stuff is happening in the back end. I'm glad you could start also sharing it.
It's a lot to
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So this has been in the works for a while, a lot of these things, right? So now we're going to start talking about it. And by the way, we're not done.
Yeah, I was going to say that too. We're not done yet. There's more to it.
So there is way, way more coming. And I'll say this on a personal level, Dana is a big ideas guy, right? He's fantastic, and we're actually very excited. I use Dan and Dana interchangeably with him, by the way. So we're really excited to have him on board, and I think he's going to have, he in the video, he mentioned that it's going to take time to build, and it will, but I think you will start to see some immediate impact pretty soon. Like I said, he's not just an ideas guy, although he is, but he's really bullish to jump in and make some changes, and he's on board as of today. So we're really excited. Again, Dan, thanks for joining the team. We're thrilled to have you. Yeah. So we're not done with all the announcements. There's more coming. And for this sort of the next piece, I want to talk about what we're going to do with Flourishing AI and all of the data that you can get from it. So there's a few things we're going to do. Not only are we going to introduce sort of token grading, so that you can now look up a token and see sort of what Fate thinks about it and what we think about it. So there's an AI component and there's also a team component. And we will be doing some due diligence here to provide this service to the community. We're going to talk about that due diligence and how it feeds into a third leg of our sort of product stack later on in the show. But I'd like to turn it over to Will to talk about some of the things that we're going to do there in terms of due diligence, token grading, and making some of that data available. Like, you know, can you ask Fate what she thinks of, you know, token XYZ? What do you think, Will?
Yeah, so the plan here is to create a kind of dashboard where you can see just a real analysis kind of distilled down into kind of a basic grade for various different tokens and things like that. So in order to do this for kind of the smaller cap ones, it will require us to do a level of due diligence beyond what is normally done. And this is a type of due diligence that angel investors typically do in projects. So given that, I think Eric should kind of talk about the next approach.
Like, hey, guys, keep passing it back and forth.
The goal we have with this company is to build products that all synergize together. They all build on each other and they interconnect with each other.
All right, guys, I'm just going to say it. I have to say it. All right. Outside of perspective, look at what the team is doing, right? You could tell that they have the experience. They know how to research stuff. They're saying that they're going to have the research reports. All that stuff is coming out. You have Fate also. She's out there. She has her own metrics. She's her own AI. She's her own entity, right? That's what she is. And there are projects that want to come out, and there's people that are anonymous. There's people that are real. There's people that are actually really real, and they are looking for places to go live, such as a launch pad, for instance. So is it fair to say that Flourishing will eventually, or in the very near future, have their own launch pad, as many other community members have kind of proposed?
Well, I am pleased to say, Jason, that you are spot on. Actually, that is where we're going. So the third leg in our mission to make crypto accessible to newbies and democratize access to crypto, leg one is give you a safe place to put your assets in a way that AI will help you grow over time. Second leg is to make it easy to get in, right? So if you think about folks that have not gotten into crypto, you guys are, many of you are DEX pros. You can go in, you know what a cross-chain swap is, you know what all these things are, right? For new users, all of that stuff might as well be written in hieroglyphics. So uplink was the second piece to get people in, right? So get people in, you know, into the crypto space. Now you've got a portfolio. So what's the third? Well, it's funny because I wrote a blog post like many months ago and talked about sort of the super secret master plan. And the secret plan was, you know, help people get onto crypto, help people stay in a portfolio and asset management space that is relatively safe and guided and data backed, right? I mean, there are no guarantees in crypto, but to the extent that you can use more data, that's a really safe place to start, right? So what's the third? The third is access to projects that you otherwise would never get access to. And that's why we're going to run a launchpad. Now, to be clear, we're going to have a very specific focus for this launchpad. Many of you who have followed us for months now, or maybe even over a year, you guys know that Will and I came from the media and entertainment space. We've developed video games. We've developed the economies of video games. We've marketed video games. We've worked with publishing in video games, and, you know, and I'll use the term metaverse now because that's kind of what we're calling a lot of these things, right? Whether it's gaming, virtual world, or metaverse, it's kind of, I'm talking about the same thing. we have a lot of contacts. We have a lot of connections in the space. We have a lot of knowledge. We can help scale these projects. Because of the fact that we have all of this background knowledge in metaverse scaling and creation, whenever we launch a metaverse project, we actually know what to look for. We know whether it's a scam. We know whether the team is capable of producing, right? Even if their intentions are all the best, we've actually talked to a number of folks already about helping them launch. And, you know, while they are well-intentioned, we start asking questions like, where's your developer team and what kind of runway do you have? And they don't know, which to us is a bit of a red flag. And we tell them that, like, look, you're in for some rough waters here because it doesn't quite work that way. So you got to build towards a metaverse. You don't just release art and go, right? So as a result,
on the other side, also you have projects such as AI that have already been launched that might
Right.
be looking to do multiple raises, and same concept there.
Exactly. And the best part of this is that it really isn't competitive with a lot of the existing launch pads that you know. In fact, we have relationships and partnerships with a lot of launch pads, and many of them would like to actually share their projects that they intend to get on, so that we can do this due diligence and we will actually participate in those rounds. So all of that has already started. We still have to launch this. It's not going to be overnight. It's not going to be ready next week. But that is something that post ETH, AI on ETH launch, we are going to be releasing. So there you go. That's the master plan. It's all out now, right? Access to crypto via, bank card purchases, a place to put your assets. And then if you want to invest in new projects, disclaimer, right? New projects can be riskier than crypto, but if you want to invest in new projects that are vetted, that where we know the team, we understand that they have a path towards actually producing a product instead of just creating hype, right? You're now going to be able to get in early, the way that VCs do, the way that the smart money does. We've always told you we want to make you guys the smart money, and this is the third piece of that puzzle. So.
Now, I'm sure that there's more to it also, because I already can tell a few people will be asking about the utility of AI and its involvement within the ecosystem. So all that will also be put out there. So that will be explained.
Start thinking about this. If you want to participate.
For those that are watching, I don't know how this is not like the most bullish news freaking and FOMO possible. I'm trying to hold myself back. I'm letting you talk, but I
don't hold back. It's okay. We're not.
And be the fact that AI is now going to be on an ERC20, so Ethereum blockchain, that's where a lot of the money is. You guys are going to have your own launch pad that's going to be attracting people. Perhaps also, I'm just going to put it out there saying that perhaps the first AI IDO will be on the Flourishing launch pad also. I don't know. There's a lot of cool stuff that is about to actually happen. And I know you said it's not today, it's not next week, but based on the way I know you guys work, it's going to be relatively fast. I'll just say that.
It's going to be as fast as we can make it.
Faster than what other projects are kind of doing with their imaginary roadmap.
We move as fast as a quality product build will allow us to. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
We definitely don't want to put out something that's half-baked, right? So we're definitely working hard on it already. So, and we're really, really excited about it. But again, there you have it. And now if you're sitting there holding AI.
Even now, also as an outsider's perspective, you guys don't have to comment on this. But go look up all the launch pads that have or incubator. Again, we're not saying that Flourishing is going to be an incubator, but launchpad projects. If they have a native token, go do your research. Go look at their market cap, go look at their community, and that will then give you an immediate glimpse of to where this is going in a short time frame. Amongst, again, so uplink, Fate. I like how you said ask Fate before. I don't know. That's just something cool. And Dan with helping with videos, content. If you see where I'm getting at, I don't know how else to tell you how big of an opportunity that this will actually be. So
it's all getting tied together. Very excited.
All right. On that, there is something actually I think happened. Was it yesterday or a couple of days ago? So this is for Will. Was there a buyback or did something happen?
Yes, there was. We did a buyback from the current revenue. So that is in the Destroyer wallet. roughly 10,000 AI.
Okay.
So went ahead and did that yesterday. And that's directly just from the revenue, right? Plan is always 20% of revenue. We buy it from the spot market and destroy it.
So when you say destroy, that because people always say like burned. So that's the same thing, or
Yes, we
Okay.
burned it.
what's going to happen with ETH or on the Ethereum blockchain? You guys gonna send it to the same wallet, I guess, or
Yeah,
same
the
burn type
wallet
system?
exists on both chains.
Correct.
So, maybe, once we're on 2 different chains, we'll just decide whether, which one we're going to buy and burn from. But ultimately, it has the same net effect because we buy it on ETH chain and burn it. Then it'll be arbitraged together, and the price on BSC will then.
That's actually what I was getting at. Buy the cheaper version. Get as many as you can and burn them all.
Whatever's cheaper, right? Yeah, we'll buy it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
All right. I mean, if we were to ask for, I got to give us credit. I mean, we're at like the 30-minute mark, guys, because we also had Dan's video, so that was 4 minutes.
We covered a lot. I'm really proud of it.
Yeah.
We pushed a lot out today. We're getting better at this, huh?
For those,
you're
those
the
that
pro,
are-
Jason, right? Will and I are just kind of learning, right? But we're getting a little more efficient with our talk.
I like it. For those that
Yeah.
have tuned in, we literally go back, and for this specific video, I got to make sure I go in and do these timestamps. But we had the very first advertisement for Fade Portfolio Management. That was in there, so that was about like a minute. But then there's the big announcement, and to clear the confusion about AI also being now on Ethereum blockchain, so ERC20 token, which is huge. More marketing, the IDO, and now possibly larger exchanges.
This is the idea. This is why we're going to overraise
Long-term, yeah.
that we need to create a liquidity pool, right? So because we're going to use the other funds from that IDO to then make a launchpad ourselves. And we've already checked with our other launchpad partners that we have really close relationships with. And it's not a competitive space. Like everybody's like, there's more than enough projects trying to get in launch pads than we can even process right now. So
Right.
like this is another important point that we wanted to bring up.
It's not even competitive for other launch pads because the tokens that they're releasing, the majority of them also have those tokens, right? Or there's like a payment structure or whatnot. But just the fact that you guys have Uplink also, it's that project is immediately on an exchange. Aside if it's
Crypto Man
like a
nailed
deck,
it,
but...
right? Yeah, with the comment, you've nailed it, and Crypto Man in the comments nailed it, right? So the difference is twofold. Number one is you have the ability to bank card, buy right in, and just go right into the Launchpad projects. By the way, we haven't named the Launchpad yet. We're still figuring out what that looks like. The other side of it is
Don't get too much info about that yet.
Not yet. No, we're kicking out some. We're kicking through some ideas.
There's a lot going on already.
There's so much going on. But the other side of it is it's not just Uplink that's tied in and makes it easy to get on a Launchpad. But the other side of it is that it's curated by people who really know the space that the Launchpad is focused on. We're not bringing in any old projects. We're bringing in projects that we know how to vet. And that's the important thing. For those of you who haven't spent years as producers or designers or, in the metaverse space, we have a team that has, right? Does that mean we'll be perfect? Probably, almost certainly not. Not probably not. Almost 100% certain. Nobody is. But we can channel a lot of that experience to do two things. Number one, make sure that we are giving you quality projects. And number two, and this one's key, we will continue to work with those projects going forward so that after launch, their token is reflective of all of the productivity that they put into it. And again, it's not perfect, right? After a launch, you always have a little bit of a dip and then an up and then a little bit of a dip, and it always sort of back and forth. But over time, the ones that develop great projects that have, great guidance behind them and really sort of understand how to build these products and really sort of, grow them, those are the kinds of things that we want to bring to market. And that presents you with an opportunity to really grow your, asset base over time, we think.
It's not even that. It's also a huge opportunity for the projects that are going to be on the Flourishing and Launchpad, because let me say this. How many projects are on Launchpads, right? So that the immediate release of that, yes, they'll be on the DEX. So PancakeSwap, Uniswap, whatever, that's fine. But how many of them are then placed on somewhat or any of them even placed on a fiat gateway or system?
Right.
But let me also say before, like having that set up before they even launch.
Right.
because the moment
Right.
that they do launch and you're on that DEX and then you approach somebody, which you would then have to do, it takes time to then code it and start adding them. Like there's a process. So imagine an awesome, sick metaverse project launching, going live. So now they are on a DEX, they're out there, but then telling their community you could actually just go with your credit card, buy it right now if you want. Well, where has that happened?
Right.
I haven't seen it.
Right. And the even better part is there's a tie into the portfolio manager too, because we've done the due diligence on the token, right? So it should be a whitelist, attractive token to trade in, right, over time, right? Looking at market cap, looking at the product, all those sorts of things. The launchpad itself will include a number of layers of protection. We're not getting into the specifics because we don't necessarily want to give bot operators and hackers a sort of a primer on what we're doing, but we're doing some things on the back end that will help that as well. And so for those of you who are holding AI right now, the model, and we'll release specifics, but the model will be that depending on how much you hold, you'll have access to buy in a little bit more of these projects early on, right? So at a starter level, if you're just subscribing, you're not holding necessarily Flourishing AI, you're just doing your month-to-month thing, you'll have the ability to buy in a little bit. If you hold some, you'll have the ability to buy more. If you hold a lot, you'll have the ability to buy quite a bit into the.
Yeah, this is a standard
That's basically
model
how it's
for
going to work.
launchpads. So we're
It's
just
a
kind
standard.
of
We're not doing anything new there.
through. Yep.
I like it. All right. I'm just being cognizant of the time. Again, we have a lot of information on this. One thing I definitely want to end it on does actually deal with Uplink, and because people are asking for like updates. But one thing I definitely want to put out there is, yes, like right now, Uplink, it's out there, it's working, but I feel like the community doesn't really fully understand that we could recommend projects and make these connections. I mean, that's kind of, I feel like they just don't know about it.
Yeah. There's a couple of things in the works. Go check out uplinkdefi.com for projects that are currently using Uplink. There's a few. You'll notice a strong metaverse component to all of them. That's not accidental, right? There's more on the way, so keep an eye on the website. You'll see more and more show up there as we bring on more. And I believe we may next week have a guest in an announcement as to the next next Uplink partner as well. So we're super thrilled about that. So stand by for that, guys.
Okay. Will, so Lint is asking about, or I guess this is for the Launchpad as well, but so staking or holding. But because we're also going on Ethereum, that again opens opportunities for much of other things. So what's that kind of looking like? Is it just going to be standard just holding for now, or could we get into farming? Could we get into all this other like cool stuff?
So
I guess it's on
ETH, one of the things we're talking about getting into is yield farming, right? So let's say you go to Aave or Curve or something like that, Compound, and then you can just farm, yield farm AI, right? We feel like those are much more established DeFi protocols that people use over something like traditional staking. So I want to go more in that route ultimately. But what you can do for the time being, we have this new accumulate mode, which I just released. If you want to kind of help our token price currently, if you're on PancakeSwap trading, turn accumulate mode on. And I think I posted in the chat how to do that. And what that'll do is it'll buy AI when it's cheap, and it'll only sell your original investment when the AI price goes up. And as if anybody who's in the chat has seen, this is typically like 20, 30% swings that Fate is making. Like it'll make a 20 or 30% profit. So what accumulate mode will do is it'll sell the original investment when the price has gone up, for example, 30%. And then you will then end up with 30% of those coins just for free. And it'll just keep doing that over and over, and it'll just grow this kind of pile of free coins in your account. And it's awesome because those free coins, as the price of AI accumulates, the value of those free coins will go up over time. And it secondarily will help the price of the token just by not completely draining your funds of all the AI. And this is just due to the calculation of how pricing works on DEXs. So
I think
if you
this is the code. I just took it.
create a downward pressure in the price, right? So if you
So
only
this
sell
is
70%, then it's the same.
so this
Go
is
ahead.
the code / so command set pancake swap accumulate AI. So I
Yep.
pulled
For
out
those
the
of you in
Telegram,
Telegram,
so it's
yes.
in there.
That's
But
the
just to
command.
verify, go into their Telegram group and read it.
And you
It's all
can
there.
do this with any coin on any exchange. Let's say you want to accumulate, I don't know, like Cardano. I used to use them as a thing, right? So you can accumulate ADA, and it'll do the same thing. You'll just be growing a pile of free ADA coins over time. It's a different way to think about trading.
Right.
I like it. On that note, actually, somebody, another community member had asked, what if we actually decide to buy AI tokens and then send that to the custodial wallet, right? Would Fate manage those tokens for you, or would she sell them, or would she keep them? Is that
Not
kind of
generally,
dealing
right?
with the...
They will show up in the dashboard, but Fate will not automatically do that. And one of the things that we're working on figuring out here is an AI anchor mode and what that would look like, right? So you would be trading to gain AI.
Okay.
And that is a non-trivial problem that is really kind of trailblazing this space. It requires a lot of thought how to do that, honestly.
Okay.
And that's something that you could only really do on a DEX. It's not something that is possible really on a centralized exchange. And assuming that we would be listed on a centralized exchange,
which could be happening soon. All right, guys, we're at like 45-minute mark. I like to condense this stuff. It was a lot of information. Once we end this, I got to go through it. I don't want to add like the timestamps again because there was so much information in here. For those that still have questions about AI going on Ethereum, head into their group, Telegram group. Everything's in the description below. Okay. The light even came on saying we got to go. All right. Let's end it on this note. For those that do have questions, head into the Telegram group as well as Twitter. Follow everybody. It's all in the description. Read it.
yeah. And if you have an idea for a project that should be an uplink, hit up Eric.
Definitely. Yeah, I definitely appreciate those referrals. And a lot of our community members have actually referred us multiverse projects that we think are pretty spectacular. So so thank you. Keep it up. We definitely take each one seriously. We definitely look at each one. And we may ask for an introduction if you're up for it. So.
Okay. This is how I know time is up when the light turns on.
I was about to ask you about that. Is that
We're
like
going to end it on
automatic?
that note. Guys, stay there. I'm going to put up the end screen. Again, this is for the other videos. As always, though, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, leave a comment below, follow us. Stay on. I'll be back in a bit.